G'day guys, what's cracking? It's Ralph here, and I felt that there were too many review videos and not enough let's get out there and take some photographs. So I'm on holiday and I'm down in Dromana, which is 2,000 kilometers south of where I normally live, and it is so cold you could freeze the balls of a brass monkey. It's freezing. I saw a penguin before with a runny nose. That's how cold it is. And I'm down on the foreshore of Dromana, where we have these beach boxes, these bathing boxes, or some call them boat boxes. If you know the exact term for them, put it in the comments below. There are 240 of these on the foreshore along Dromana, and this is Port Phillip Bay, where I've caught the biggest snapper. That's a fish that you will ever see. Thank you very much. About half of these boxes are powered sites, and I'm not sure if people are allowed to live in them or do live in them, but powered sites means you can set up a camp really and do what you like in them. People use them to have their boats in, or all their beach gear, or probably as a halfway house to somewhere else. Talking about halfway houses, so you don't own any land. It's all crown land that these boxes are on. You can't hold a title or a lease. That means you buy just the box, just that wooden box, which must be about 4 meters by 3 meters, I'm assuming, and have a crack how much. Go right now, pause the video, go downstairs and let me know how much you think it is. Alright, we're done. 340,000 Australian dollars. Now, for those of you in the US, I don't know, that might be like 50 grand. No, it's not quite that much, but you can do the maths and work it out yourself. So I've come down to photograph these iconic structures on the beach. There's no surf that you need to worry about because it's a bay, so it is tidal, but it just comes in really slowly. And if you want one and you can afford one, you then have to pay $500 to $600, depending if it's powered and a few other things, each year to keep it functional. Most of them are handed down from generation to generation to generation, and so it's like, is that old money they call it, or old property? I've come down this morning to photograph the iconic structures on the new Nikon Z9, and what I'm first of all missing is my drone, because I've been waiting patiently for the sky to clear up. Look, there's nothing in the sky. Come on. There's this pink glow. That is where the sun is coming up. So really, really stoked about that. I had to travel about 13 minutes to get here, and literally the car's parked just over there. So easiest photography location of my life. So I thought what I'd do is I'd take a photo that I can stick on a jigsaw. Yeah. See, Mum and Dad, they love jigsaws, and I have a jigsaw line. I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested. But the problem with a jigsaw puzzle photo is it has to have enough variety in it to warrant somebody's attention. So you can't just do like that. It would be the worst jigsaw puzzle ever. But something like that, maybe not so. I wish I had my drone. Could just circle in, because there's Dromana Pier, which is right at the other end there, which is actually in my shot, and it just looks special. So we might do that another day. But let me have a look and let me show you the shot I'm working on at the moment. Okay, now we've got to wait till the sun comes up over here to give a bit of color in this shot. But at the moment, I'm just moving the shutter speed down so we perhaps some of those pink glows, and as you can see, there's halfway between the boat sheds being exposed correctly and the sky being exposed correctly. And so I've taken some shots already, and as a result the sea really gets smoothed out. And as you'll see with the Nikon Z9, have all these options that you can choose, all these shapes to actually focus in on, and you have your 3D and your people searching and that, but I thought that was a perfect choice for a day like today. I'm shooting on an f-stop of 13, and my ISO, I'm just kind of letting it do what it like, but it's bottoming out as low as it can on 64, and then I'm just moving my shutter speed to accommodate. And so I'm going to take a shot here, and I think I'm then going to walk a bit further up the beach, and I've got a 2-second timer delay on this because, as you can see, I'm shooting on the new Ulanzi Como travel tripod, which I carry everywhere at the moment. But watch this. I don't know if we can do it. See, it's the equivalent of a monopod, as it is with any sort of center column you might use and shoot from. But I need to get this high so I could put the boats in the bottom half, like of the frame. So that green line means I'm level, and that's the middle line. So bottom half of the frame, and as a result of that, I'll get more of this beautiful sky. But I'm also going to shoot a panorama ultimately. That's because of that went black, because there's a monitor thing, so I go like this. So when I put my face up to it, you can see right into there. I don't know, can you see into there? There you go. You can see right in there. That's what I see when I see. You can choose what you see when you see it. And the green line means it's level all the way across, and so my crop's going to be much more narrow than this. So if you think about this and you think about that, and it should come up good. And if this shot is any good, well, here it is. The sun hasn't come up yet, but I've walked maybe 630 meters down the beach, and I found this really interesting angle that allows you to capture some of the side profile as well as the front, but then it gradually fades. Look at this, all the way back, all the way back, all the way back, all the way back, all the way back to the pier. And what I'm shooting on 20mm prime. It's my Astro lens normally, but it's the widest lens I have. And I was previously standing just back here. And what I found when I stood back here, and we'll see if it works when I turn around, the shot was just too wide. So it'd be the equivalent of me standing back here. And I felt I was just too far away, and I thought, shall I change lenses? I thought I don't need to change lenses, I can actually move closer, because the closer you get, interestingly enough, the clearer the sign on the front becomes, not because you're closer, but because your angle to your subject changes. And so if I stand much closer to here, you can see, you might not be able to see, but this is McNamara's hut. But when I'm further away, the angle is the equivalent of being here, which is harder to read in the photo. And so I've just taken a lovely shot with the pink glow in the background, and I think I might keep wandering up. I'm looking for the shot to have a sunburst coming through, but I've got 240 of these to choose from, so it's not like I'm running out of options anytime soon. So wouldn't you know it, the closer I get to the pier, the more I realise the best shot was way back there. So I'm going to take two more shots. I'm going to take one here, one about 100 meters down, and then we're going to go back to where I originally started for the sunburst. But I love this. See, this is brick, which just implies it was really old and quite wealthy. And it's right next door to like a bright pink and blue one. And in the background we have the rest. There's a few trees and shrubs which other photographers might say, oh, I kind of like it, it's cute. It kind of ticks me off because it just gets in the way and looks messy. But this is the shot I'm going with. If I zoom in and then scroll to the right of this, you can see them all the way down the beach, the line of them, which I really, really like. And they'll gradually get blurrier and blurrier, but with an f-stop of 13, they're not going to get that blurry and that blown out. But I've got it on a level playing field, but the actual camera is slightly tilted upwards. I didn't want to cut the tree off because that would look silly in my opinion, and all this is just dead ground, except this starts to get a bit interesting here. But if I have it faced further down, you'll get just more of this grass, and who wants to see more of grass? And the sky doesn't have much color in it at all, which is why I don't think it really matters what color. So we're going to go a blue, and I'm going to move my focus over here. And I've got it on 2-second timer. I back button focus now, and then just pull the trigger. So I've just wandered a bit further down the beach, and instead of ducking back to where I was going to go, I found the shot. Now look at this. There's a bit of a spillway that just gently seeps from here, like in this S pattern, out to sea. And it gives me a foreground, and foregrounds are enormously helpful when it comes to landscape photography. The other thing I love about this shot is in the foreground is this beautiful edge So it's just cut away and looks really cool, and you see all the textures of the sands. And then over here you've got the spill of the water. This is lighting up against the sun, so the foreground just looks magnificent and draws you in. There's lots to look at. It's very exciting. There's very little dead space. But if you will recall, I said I was going to shoot a pano today, and because the Z9 takes 45 megapixel shots, you're not losing much quality at all if you lop off half the image. So come on. And as you can see, the pier is in the background, and I can get all of the pier in my shot, and it's starting to glow this golden edges as the sun comes up. And the sun's actually going to be about here, and so I put my shot together, and what I've done is I've aimed slightly down, and I went way down, so I've angled the camera right down, but to get some of this as it sweeps out to the left hand corner of the frame, but it just didn't look very good. It was too far down. But if I lower my tripod further, I'll miss seeing the glint of the sun on the water as it comes round. So I wanted to capture that. There's a couple of seagulls around. It's now too light to do any long exposure, but that's fine. I don't need or want long exposure because I like the textures in the river here as they go over the little sand bumps. And Victorian sand is much grittier than Gold Coast sand. We have the smoothest sand in the world, I reckon. Okay, so let me show you the shot I've got cooking away. And as you can see, I'm using my long focus again. And if I zoom in, as you can see, there's a lot of number of them and great colors. And look at that filthy yellow pole. That is coming out in Photoshop, I assure you. And if I zoom to the left, go all the way to the left, it sort of fades away with beach huts and into the pier, and I can get all of the pier in. So let me get out of that so you can see the whole shot. As you can see, it kind of wanders down here, and as I was talking about before, it then zooms here. It just looked a bit bizarre and a bit weird, plus I want some sun here. There's no clouds. There's some really high clouds actually, so I'm going to lower my shutter speed, and you can see some of the color that is apparent. Obviously I'm not going to shoot this dark, but at the moment it would appear that the sun's going to come up close to the middle of the shot because it's the brightest point on the screen. So you can do that by lowering your shutter speed. And so I muck about a fair bit with the shutter, and I've got the aperture on 14. The aperture's on 14 to get the sunburst when it comes in through the top of the trees. I'm waiting also for a glow to happen on this stream as it comes around, which I'm going to get when the sun comes up over the horizon. I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of an adventure and an outing we've taken this morning with these beautiful bathing boxes or beach boxes or boat boxes or boat houses. It's a bit of a mystery. You search on the net and you get all sorts of options, but I hope you've been able to think about how you might compose a shot, and how if you keep moving and work with the sun as the sun comes up, you can really make the most of it. A little bit of a tip for you: if you want sunbursts, you increase your aperture number, which is actually decreasing your aperture to not the full extent of your lens, but 1 or 2 stops short, because you don't want blurriness through light diffraction, which is what happens when you close it all the way down. You'll get blurrier images. So go right to the extent and then back it off a couple, and then if you increase your exposure, it will increase the intensity and the reach of the sunburst. So if you're shooting on 1/60 and you bring it down to 1/20, you'll get more of a sunburst than you will if you go the other way. And you can experiment with it, because whilst they're cool, they can sometimes detract from an image and sometimes promote an image, and that's what we really want. It's not actually about the sunburst, is it? It's about what we can do with it to make the scene look even better. I'm going to make my way back to the car, which is probably about 19 kilometers this way, but as I do, I'm going to take some shots and I'm going to put them up now for you to enjoy. Thanks so much for watching. If you'd like to subscribe, I'd really appreciate that. You can hit me up with the thumbs. You can join the channel if you like, and if you're looking for a website or you're looking for some music for your videos, there's a link in the description below to all that. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you. I hope you've enjoyed this morning, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.